Kindness doesn't cost a thing, yet it's the richest gift you can give.
Christian Van Gregg, brilliant, creative, and professional writer. A good and honest person who loved creating stories and writing beautiful poetry. Loved and admired by his entire family, Christian was always considered the golden boy. The idea of Runt was born from Christian. He is a talented creator and co-writer of the story and screenplay. Christian is the young man on whom Runt and its main character Cal are partially based. In this photo, the talented Christian Van Gregg was practicing in real life at the baseball field with his father Cal. In the script and story of Runt, the character Cal spends a lot of time playing with his pup Runt at the crabgrass field, which is a very dry place, part of the vast bleak desert wasteland. Christian's deep love for his father inspired him to use his father's name for the main character. The name of the character Cal is a name that was commonly attributed to his real father, Robert Calvin Gregg, in his daily life. Definitely a brilliant and loving way to honor him through his creativity and work. In this photo, Christian Van Gregg's receiving his first little baseball bat from his father Cal. Christian's immense and profound love of his father Cal was the foundation of Runt. Cal was a hero, a wonderful person, a loving husband and father who knew how to give so much love in everything, a man with important values. Cal loved baseball so much and coached Little League. He taught his two sons, Roger and Christian, how to play baseball. Their love for the game of baseball was a common denominator among them. Cal thought there were many important life lessons to learn through playing sports. Cal was super loving with his beautiful and wonderful wife Nancy. For their 25th wedding anniversary, Cal surprised Nancy with an elegant anniversary party on the baseball field. Nancy has always been a wonderful mother to their children. They were married for over 25 happy years until the cancer claimed Cal after a very long battle.
Christian, in one of his journal entries, wrote about his father Cal. All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night, in the dusty recesses of their minds, awake to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of day are dangerous men, that they may act their dreams with open eyes to make it possible. T.E. Lawrence. My father, in his life, was such a dangerous man, a dreamer who dared to dream with open eyes to make his dreams come true. His name was Cal, and he possessed the unmistakable qualities of a leader. He had vision, clarity, passion, persistency, and most importantly, he had the listener's ear. He dared to dream that he could rise above the poverty and discord of the Ohio farm where he spent his childhood doing difficult labor. He had the clarity of vision to know what he wanted. And what he wanted was to break the destructive patterns passed on by the generations of Greggs that had come before him. He had the chutzpah to risk all that he had known and to start fresh in California, where he created a strong community of friends and even stronger family. My father was in no way perfect, and it would be false to say that he was even close. But I can say with confidence that the man never failed. Cal never failed because he never thought he failed. He saw even his worst setbacks as opportunities to learn. He loved to quote famous people, and one of his favorite quotes was by President Harry Truman, who said, "Whenever I make a bum decision, I go out and make another one." He often did too. but it was his persistent inability to fail that made him a successful leader in life. Cal had a passion to teach, and to teach, he knew he had to lead. Where Cal differed, however, from most men who would call themselves a leader, was that he was also a good follower and one of the greatest listeners I've ever seen. He listened intently to the problems people shared and then challenged them to overcome them. As a result of his persistent ability to listen, follow, and encourage, he became one of the foremost leaders in our community. When Cal became ill with cancer in 1988, he did not stop being a leader. He went up in front of his community and challenged them to remember how to love. He told them that his greatest fear was that people would not know what to say to him, and thus he would be shunned. But his ability as a leader would not let this happen. He continued to attend to the business of his store, his family, and his community until his death on June 14, 1992, the last day of school my junior year. He never forgot that people were the most important part of being a leader, and he led people's hearts until the end. To me, what being a leader is all about people.
Christian's love for his father had always been unconditional, just as his father's love for Chris had been. Christian had several dogs throughout his life, and the dog Runt was based on a composite of Christian's beloved dogs. Gus, a beautiful German Shepherd, was a loyal companion for many years. After Gus came Truckee, named because Christian Van Gregg said affectionately the small terrier was a little van. Christian was especially close to Truckee. He was his favorite dog. Truckee was his best friend and confidant during his father's long battle with cancer. Their relationship was very powerful. He slept with Truckee every night and taught him many tricks. He would do anything for Christian. The family also had a rescue dog, a yellow Labrador that Christian named Baggy. Baggy was very gentle and well-loved. In one of his drafts of Runt's screenplay, the dog that would star in the film was supposed to be a Labrador, just like Baggy. The Runt story and original script. Runt is about a loner, talented, artistic high school senior and aspiring artistic architect who has nobody to care for or receive care from, other than his dog named Runt. It's a coming-of-age script addressing the idea of the effects of neglect on teenagers and examining how these negative feelings could escalate into violence. For many teens, neglect comes in different forms. When conflict and tough choices inevitably arise, a lack of guidance or intervention from grown-ups who are absent or immoral or distracted or indifferent can be as harmful, and kids can too easily devolve into pain or violence. The story was conceived in hopes that more conversations about the issues would reduce the effects, stop the neglect, and stop all forms of violence. This also tries to give more consciousness about not focusing too much on toxic and oppressive situations as a protagonist ends up doing, but instead find the strength in the passions, dreams, and positive creative goals to which young people aspire. The lead character, Cal. The most loving thing is the fact that in the story, Cal's father referred to the little boy Cal as a runt. It became a name of endearment, a name he missed hearing. For that reason, Cal decided to name his dog Runt. This is an important detail which made the bond between Cal and his dog much deeper, giving a huge sense of connection to the whole story movie title. Cal missing the love and presence of his father was central to everything. The character Cal was so intent and proud on taking care of Runt because of how much he missed his own father taking care of him.
I was taking care of him!
Neglect is the opposite of taking care, and of course, the original script of Runt was focused on neglect. Cal had the ability to feel that love for Runt he felt from his father. It's all interconnected and all about love. Although Runt is a fictional script, it is based on real combined high school and life experiences of Christian Van Gregg and William Coakley, the writers and creators of Runt. The project began in 1997 when both young men were 24 years old and Christian pitched the idea to William. This photo shows Christian and William during a European vacation when they were doing some river rafting. Christian was the first roommate of William for 1 or 2 years right after graduation. In the summer after their college graduation, Christian and William traveled for 3 months, visiting several European countries and some big and small cities in UK, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, Czech Republic, and many more. During this European trip, they considered writing a screenplay together for the first time. While traveling, they often discussed their desires to incorporate their experiences into the writing they wanted to do together. Their entire trip culminated at the popular 1997 Glastonbury Music Festival in England. A few months later, Christian presented him his idea, some of his high school experiences, and a character named Cal. Christian taught William how to write, and mostly the basics of how to write a screenplay, as Runt was the first script William had ever worked on. This led to hours and hours of conversations where they both started to get excited. Just two writers brainstorming an idea and really diving into the details. Wherever they were writing, and whether they were working on a scene together or each of them were working on separate things to review together, they were always together. Literally reading off the same computer, or printing out 2 drafts of the script and doing table reads. This was before Zoom or any kind of remote collaboration technology. Some people didn't even have cell phones yet, just landlines and fax machines. Email was just barely becoming the main way of communicating, so Christian and William were always 90% together, literally always in the same room, talking and writing. There were some situations of ups and downs between them, but many feelings of passions for what they were doing. Together, they worked and wrote and developed what they wanted the story to be about. Definitely an important message and story about the 1,000 complexities of neglect. Cal's character is very connected to Christian and William. The character Cal is fearless, fighter, persistent, and talented like Christian. And also, Cal is a talented artistic loner and an aspiring artist-architect just like William was in high school. The art teacher, Miss Rose, was totally inspired by William's experiences. He has always had a great love and talent for art. While the coach was totally from Christian's experiences. As a person who had been active in sports from an early age, Christian understood the importance of a good coach in a kid's life. His father has always been a great coach and leader in life. But he was not always able to coach Christian's teams. There were some coaches when Christian played in high school who only cared about winning.
Sorry, Coach.
You're sorry?
The great, they fight to win. To win!
Christian was a great pitcher, and these coaches would overplay him. During these times, Christian would need to come home and ice his arms to numb the pain. He had also seen how a coach could fit into the tapestry of adults who could enable the downward circle of violence, which Runt's script is largely about. The vast bleak desert wasteland which is mentioned in Runt's script was largely inspired by areas of California where William grew up. Sometimes he felt on edge as an artistic person who craved inspiration, but William and Christian chose a place called Inland Empire, which is a real place not far from Los Angeles, because they both believed it best represented the widest range of wasteland cities of California. The entire story and script of Runt took place in the Inland Empires. The character Borgie was inspired by Steve, Christian's best friend from preschool through high school. They were loyal and trusted best friends until they graduated from high school and both went their separate ways. Christian went to the University of Southern California to become a writer, and Steve stayed in Camarillo and got married. Steve got married right out of high school, but continued to work on his higher education. Steve received an accounting degree and today is a successful CPA. Vic's character was based on a boy in Christian school. The character Cecily. Cecily is a lone wolf and a stoner girl. She was meant to be very sexually confident and healthy, but she comes across as a confident outcast loner, and a very similar soul of Cal's character because of her troubled home life. So she has developed that way because she had to grow up too quick to become the adult that worries about and takes care of her parents, which is a form of neglect. But she has quite confidence about herself. She knows how to fight, and she is the leader of her family. The character of Cecily was based on a girl who went to high school with William and Christian. The hard scene between Vic and Cecily was also based on a girl he knew. William witnessed a similar experience in his youth, but it wasn't the same girl Cecily was based on. Christian and William combined that experience into Cecily's character. William changed some aspects of Cecily's character several times. Initially, in the first script that Christian and William had written, Cecily was supposed to be a goth girl with dark makeup and piercings. Then, when William revisited the script years later, he was interested in a little more authentic diversity from where both Christian and him grew up, so he changed the character of Cecily to a Mexican girl called Cecilia. His vision for Mexican Cecilia was a young Linda Ronstadt, a free spirit. William loves everything about Linda, and his parents listened to her songs very often when he was young. His other vision of Cecily was a young Jennifer Jason Leigh, a very self-confident girl. Gabriella's character was initially called Debbie Leonard, and she was supposed to be a blonde girl with strawberry skin. She is the most popular hot girl in school. William in his school knew girls like her, kind of molded by sexual attention from bad boys at an early age, but deep down, they wanted to be better than all that. William was the one who changed Debbie to a chica Latina named Gabriella. All the baseball elements were supplied by Christian, but Cal's part-time job was based on William's experiences.
Please, man, I really need this job. I get 4 applications a week from kids who know how to be on time. You're not even listening to me.
Señor Calvin, vengas aquí.
The Spanish teacher was typical of a Spanish teacher in Christian's mind for their area of Southern California, and William agreed. In the original story, Miss Rose's presence during the final scene represented all the adults in the story who could have stopped all the conflicts and cycle of violence that many kids like Cal and Vic are involved in. But she didn't, and only realized what happened after she saw Cal and Cecily in some very bad conditions after the difficult battle with Vic. Her reaction during the final scene is a wake-up call about the effects of neglect which many kids have suffered. Christian and William worked diligently on the script for a year, beginning in 1997 from 1998 until the early 2000s. They were trying to make and release the film with various producers and directors. Michael London and Eamon Wilkes had been chosen as producers. David Fincher was the first director attached to Runt, subsequently another person in the entertainment industry. It is common in filmmaking that several other quality directors subsequently signed on to make the film. It was actually Catherine Hardwicke who was finally attached and preparing to direct Runt. Therefore, the Runt's project was constantly evolving and progressing until 2003. Christian Van Gregg passed at the age of 29 in 2003, just a few months after he returned from a very difficult and hard experience in Afghanistan where he was working on another film, which then won a prestigious award and was distributed worldwide. But Christian passed before he could see his award-winning film, and before he could turn many of his amazing screenplays into a movie. That's why Runt wasn't done the first time they were working on it. Christian's fearlessness is so honorable. His talent, passion, and strength were skillfully transferred to the written word. Christian, thank you for what you gave us, and thank you for being honest. Your value is unique and immense, and you will always be important and loved. After many years, in 2015, William decided to revisit Runt's script with Armand Constantine. It was decided that some modernization was needed since it had been originally written many years ago. Maximus was a co-pilot of William Coakley, a perfectly loving oddball adventurer, and one of the many manifestations of him being a unique oddball were his vocalizations that sounded very human and emotional. From the first day William even started considering to resurrect Runt back in 2014, the very first idea that came to his head was how Maximus's unique and distinctive vocalizations are one of his favorite things about him. And he needed to find a dog who could do the same for the movie, but the dog that was chosen for the film was completely silent, so they chose Maximus to record all the sounds for Runt's voice. Maximus's vocal performance was really perfect, and it's wonderful that he got an important part in Runt. Maximus was always present during the revising of the script in 2015, and he often lovingly supervised everything. The script circulated in Hollywood for a while. Picking up interest, several actors were considered as actors in the movie. The revised script was officially sold in 2018. William had to make some changes in censorship to the script due to some factors. In the summer of 2018, they finally started filming the movie with Cameron Boyce. They both talked a lot about Christian, working hard day and night, non-stop, to build the important character of Cal. William and Cameron spoke often of Christian in order to help Cameron understand Cal, the character he would be playing. William remembered that Cameron hoped the work they were doing would make Christian's family proud, and that he looked forward to meeting Christian's family at the premiere. This is from one of their many conversations in the very early days of the set of Run. William will always remember it because it just further demonstrates how much Cameron cared about everything and how much hard work he had put into his character. It reminded William one of his favorite videos of Cameron from the shoot, where he is in a gray shirt talking about his character Cal.
So in my new film Runt, you guys are, if you watch, going to meet my character Cal. And Cal is sort of a complicated high school student who comes from, a modest household where he doesn't have his dad anymore, and his mom is working a lot to pay the bills, and comes home really tired every night. And so this kid is a bit isolated. He's a bit of a loner at school. He has one friend. His name is Borgie, but other than that, he just sort of keeps to himself, keeps his head down. And I think the reason he does that is because, quite frankly, he's a little over it. He's a little over the high school experience. He's a little over some of the BS that you have to deal with. So he just sort of goes, listen, I know that I'm probably smarter than these people. He's an artist. He's a really talented artist, and he just sort of dreams of a brighter future until, of course, some stuff goes down, and ultimately that might end up jeopardizing a lot of people's futures. But yeah, he's an old soul and sort of a complicated character that has a lot of nuance.
Cameron loved working on Runt and took his work very seriously. In every way, he was a professional. Cameron with Runt, and Cameron when he was a little boy with a dog that was very important in his real life. Cal's scene of a burning car was loosely based on an experience from William's youth. The fire did grow out of control, but nobody got hurt. At the time, he was not alone, but he was with other guys, and he was not the one who had to start that situation. William and Christian put it in Runt's script to try and use their own life experiences to illustrate a downward cycle of violence that can get out of control, and to try and illustrate that neglect leads to violence. They hoped more in-depth family conversations would be inspired to help families recognize neglect and to work to abolish it and reduce its occurrence and frequency, and stop every form of violence. The gun culture was also something that belonged to William's youth, and that's another point he regretted growing up. Similar situations often occurred in the oil fields in the Kern River during some moments of his youth. Gun violence is without doubts something terribly very frequent. After his experience in Runt, Cameron decided to create a brilliant campaign called Wielding Peace that was designed to further awareness for gun safety. More specifically, he wanted to end gun violence. Cameron's vision for wielding peace is to provide creative opportunities which are often paired with an inspirational teacher, mentor, or role model. Cameron led by example, showing that the arts, creativity, and forms of expression can be weapons of peace and goodness in the world. He hoped that the Wielding Peace campaign influenced the younger generation to focus on hobbies, passions, and expressive outlets that bring them happiness. Cameron always hoped to encourage young people to choose peace. Never choose destruction. Instead, choose peaceful construction and creativity. Cameron worked on Runt till 4 in the morning. He did a lot of research and put so much thought into his character. He took it very seriously in a very professional way. He is perfect as Cal, and his performance will always be wonderful. It is easy to imagine that Christian and Cameron would have enjoyed each other. Both young men love to stay current on the latest dances. Cameron's cast members have shared that during breaks in filming, Cameron loved to dance. He also liked to go into the set's school gym and practiced shooting hoops. One could picture Christian, who played basketball, joining Cameron for a little one-on-one. Cameron was also very funny and always tried to make the people around him smile.
You actually don't have to say anything.
Yes, I do.
Just say 90 take one.
If I'm gonna take Hunter's job,
So 90
I
take
need-
one, and then marker before you hit the stick. What about
90, take one.
Put your fingers.
Marker. Ow!
What we've been working on these past 5 weeks has tested me and fulfilled me at the same time, and for that, I'm so grateful. Last day today. Let's get it! Cameron had written this on one of his Instagram posts. On the last day of filming, a crepes truck surprised and served the cast and crew. From a source, Cameron handled the surprise. He always thought about how to make other people happy, and it was a very sweet surprise for everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Cameron!
You're welcome.
You're the best.
The person in the video saying, "Thank you so much, Cameron, you were the best," is Jonek Grissom. A comment on the set of Runt by director of photography John Connor. Crazy shots at a moment's notice, telling stories, making magic happen, and enjoying what we do for long hours and challenges budgets of today. William and John on the set. The time they had for filming the entire movie turned into only 25 days. The shooting schedule was very fast, without enough time and budget available for additional shooting and necessary scenes for the movie, so filming was a big challenge every day. William hoped to correctly represent the story he and Christian had written, and in October 2018, William asked to reshoot some scenes, but they were continuously postponed due to the low budget, plus various other reasons, and therefore they never got to be done. In the summer of 2019, the best and kindest human and wonderful talented artist Cameron Boyce passed during the post-production of the film due to a form of epilepsy. The Cameron Boyce Foundation was officially announced to help research and continue the many important causes Cameron believed in. An invitation to everyone to make a donation. Every donation counts. During that time, there were many challenges, and for many reasons, the reshoots never happened. Therefore, the film was considered unfinished by the co-writer and director William and other people. Although the film did not reflect the exact way it was originally intended and conceived, a version of the film that was considered to be a final product was shown at the Mammoth Film Festival, where it won 2 awards. After the festival, the film had various problems with distribution, and William would not have released that version. So, in 2020, William had considered the possibility to remake the whole film with a completely new cast, and with the complete script, but this possibility was soon after discarded. Although there were many challenges, the film was then officially released in 2021. The complete and extended Runt script includes amazing transitional scenes and beautiful dialogue written by Christian and William that were very important to their story, film, and idea of how they had originally conceived. Original design by RT Enchanted.
It's obvious tonight is gonna be the loneliest. You're still the oxygen I breathe. I see your face when I close my eyes. It's torture. Tonight is gonna be the loneliest. There's a few lines that I have wrote. There's just one thing I hope you know. Allow the soul. I don't even care about the time I've got left here. The only thing I know now is that I wanna spend it with you, nobody else here. Tonight is gonna be the loneliest. Tonight is gonna be the loneliest.
Runt, written by Christian Van Gregg and William Coakley.
Morning sunlight over dozens of photographs, blueprints, drawings tacked in no particular order to cheap wood paneling. Notre Dame, Escher, Rockwell, Sistine Chapel.
Runt?
Hello. Hello. What's up, bud? What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy?
Cal. Gentle, earnest, strong, with James Dean vibes.
Cecily, a homely, introverted, and free spirit. Page 12, high school, drafting class. Some students work at rows of CAD computers lining the walls, others at traditional slanted tables, drafting prints by hand. Cal, however, has his covert sketchbook back out, drawing a page full of female legs in a variety of alluring poses: short shorts, bikini bottoms, and miniskirts.
Cal freezes as Mrs. Rose, pregnant belly just starting to show, leans into view and plays it deadpan.
Mrs. Rose says, "Not quite sure about your technique, though. May I?"
Cal lets her take the pen.
Mrs. Rose says, "Beauty is an admirable goal. Just remember, perspective is everything."
She hands back the pen as Cal pulls out his portfolio of prints, an embossed letter from UCLA sitting on top. Mrs. Rose grabs it and scans with wide eyes.
What? Cal, you already got into UCLA?
Yeah, but I'm holding out for Rhode Island.
Wait, what? I thought you wanted me to write your rec letters to Rhode Island. I told you I have contacts there. It would have made a difference.
I did the sign-up sheet, and then reminded you last month that
you had to apply early for financial aid.
It's okay. Just figured you were busy with, grown-up stuff.
No, Cal. That's not an excuse. I let you down. I am so sorry.
Cal flashes a gracious, forgiving smile as she hands the letter back as she half sulks back to her desk, revealing
Cecily, sitting in front of Cal, doodling a peace sign made of flowers onto the white surface of her drafting table. Cecily says, "So Rhode Island's got a really good architecture program?"
Yep.
"It's so far away."
That's the point.
She watches him draw, smiling as his pencil glides effortlessly over Greek columns. Cecily says, "Well, I'm glad you applied. You want something. Gotta put yourself out there and go for it, right?"
He stops and looks up at her, mind racing. Page 20. Crabgrass Field. A baseball skitters across a moonlit field. Slobber flying, Runt rockets after it, catches the ball in his snapping jaws, trots back. Cal says, "Good boy." Wooden bat in one hand, Cal grabs the ball in Runt's mouth. The boy and the dog tug a war.
The homecoming dance.
Nobody goes to those things.
Cecily, across the street outside the city library, reading at a picnic table under a lonely old tree. Perking up, Cal considers, gets his second wind, silently resting his bike against the wheelchair ramp rail. Cal creeps up behind Cecily. Lighting up with a long drag, she blows the smoke out her nose like a dragon. Then, with no breath between, takes another and holds it, finally releasing a monster cloud that hangs in the air around them, blocking out the world.
Cal drags in through the torn screen door, drops to his knees, and gives Runt some stoned love. Page 39. Cal says, "Wow, you look so..."
Leggy?
I was gonna say different.
Good. I like different. Cal and Cecily sit on the curb by the driveway. He drapes his jacket over her shoulders. She buries her head into her knees, giggling.
Cal takes a gulp of beer, foam catching his upper lip. He looks over to find Cecily looking at him again with those big brown eyes. She brings her finger up, wipes the foam from his lip. He smiles. She doesn't. As they lean in slowly, eyes close, and tenderly kiss beneath the hazy black night sky.
Page 48. Mrs. Rose instructs a depth concept on the dry erase board as Cal is in a trance, staring at Cecily's drafting table, the floral peace sign she doodled. Page 69. A line drive skitters against a vibrant red sunset, and Runt rockets after it.
Didn't anyone ever tell you not to mess with a
Pumped,
madman?
Cal chases him around. Runt barks, and Cal growls back as they jockey for the ball. Boy and his dog on top of the world, playing around beneath an impossibly red sunset. Page 74. Cal chuckles softly, wraps his arms around her. Leaning back, she gently touches his bruised eye. Cecily says, "Does it hurt?"
Only when you touch it.
She draws her hand away, but Cal smiles and pulls it right back.
Cal says, I don't mind.
Cecily falls onto the couch in Cal's arms, lips pressed, mouths open in a long, wet kiss. Wiggling around, lips never unlock. Cecily's neck gets pinned as they try to get comfortable. She yanks him back close to her, rolls on top, and continues to make out when Runt lets out his adorable whine.
Stopping mid-kiss, they both turn to find Runt sitting right next to them, staring like he wants in on the action. Cal says, "Stop it." Tongue out, Runt just looks at them with a big, dumb grin. I can't do this with him inside. He watches the whole time or sits at my door and whines. Cal jumps off the couch and opens the front door. Relieved, Cal turns to face her. She drapes her arms over his shoulders. He wraps his around her waist. Cal says, "I'm really glad you're here."
I am too. I feel safe with you. I don't want to feel unsafe anymore.
Cal yanks off his shirt, then helps pull hers over her head. Shimmying out of her shirt, Cecily peels Cal's shorts off before they hop onto his cheap mattress and roll around.
Finally, Cecily moves up top, straddling Cal as she undoes her bra and eases it down. Nervous, excited, eager. He sits up, kissing her neck. They listen to the music, coveting each other's bodies. She still wants him.
Cal shuts off the lamp, moonlight filtering in as he gently moves back on top.
And kisses her deeply. The wind outside picks up, rattling the windows.
Page 77. A sickle moon elapses across the night sky to become the glaring orange sun peeking over the dirt fields and oil rigs pumping away into the morning horizon. Cal wakes slowly, rolls over with a big smile, only to find he's alone in bed. Knitting his brow, he shoots up to find Cecily sitting on his desk, holding the Rhode Island envelope. He grabs it from her. Tearing it open, he pulls out the letter. Grinning, he starts to read, but his face falls a little flat. Stopping short, he chucks it aside. Cal says, "Doesn't matter. Wherever we go, we're gonna rule the world."
Cecily says,
Well, I guess you're welcome to come, but I meant me and Runt.
Cal walks Cecily to the gate, opens it for her. She wraps her arms around him for one last sweet kiss, then plants a hand on his chest and pushes off. See you at school.
Can't wait. Page 79. Runt! Dude! Confused, he climbs the front stoop and turns around for a higher vantage point, squinting into the morning horizon when his eyes go hard. descending the stairs, zeroing in on the baseball bat lying in a thick patch of weeds. Cal slams into their entire lunch table with a primal cry. With all his anger and pain, he says, "I was taking care of him!" Cal sprints around a corner, plants a foot, and pivots, lunging right back behind a tall hedge where the red-stained baseball bat is hidden. He grabs it, just as Vic sprints around the same corner in a blind rage. Vic skids to a stop, whipping around just as Cal rushes him, swinging the bat full strength. Cal and Vic whip around to find Cecily emerging from the shadows of the lockers where they had just been slugging it out.
Cecily finds Cal and Vic during the final battle. Cecily wanted to share the difficult situation with Cal, and she stopped Cal from pulling the trigger. Cecily tries to convince him to take control of the situation.
Shaking his head, Cal fights the flood of pain coursing through his brain, tears streaking his face. Cal says, I wish my dad was here.
I know, but I'm here, right now.
Cal looks up at Cecily, sees the pain in her face.
She gave him the baseball bat. Confused, Cal stares at it through heavy tears as Cecily gives him a hardened, knowing look. Ducking into the alley, Cal and Cecily head for the cement truck, construction tools, and a fresh slab of cement cordoned off by plastic tape. Cecily crouches down, sticks the baseball bat into the thick glop, forcing it all the way in, while Cal stands over her, scanning the desert city landscape in a daze. Chill wind stinging his red, puffy eyes.
Cal turns and looks back across the street to the auditorium where there are now lots of students filing in. Cal says, "Would you like to go with me to the homecoming dance?"
Cecily looks at him with wide eyes as a sad little grin slowly rises on his lips. Realizing he's serious, a sad little grin rises on hers too. Cecily says, "Nobody goes to those things."
Greeting kids at the entrance, Mrs. Rose looks up to see Cal and Cecily approaching.
Mrs. Rose says, "Hey, you two. I'm so glad you both." But she trails off as they come more into the light. Cal pretty beat up and limping next to Cecily. Mrs. Rose takes a step forward to help, but Cecily just grabs Cal's arm and steadies him as they blow right past. Before Mrs. Rose can react, a loud commotion suddenly rises in the background. Alarmed, Mrs. Rose is about to start off in that direction, but stops. Can't help connecting the dots. Slowly turning back, her face fills with a terrible sense of dread as she looks back to see Cal and Cecily giving each other one last tearful look as they clasp hands and push inside to the loud, sweet music of the homecoming dance.
and I was over.
My mom says that there are certain people who, after a while, you realize that every time you see them could be your last time.
You mean your dad? Cal, how did he do?
That doesn't matter.
My hands, they were strong, but my knees were far too weak to stand in your arms.
Those boys, they're looking at me as a road out of here. The road is to win.
But there's a side to you that I never knew all the things you'd say that were never true in the games you'd play. You would always win, but I set fire.
We're 5-0 so far this season, Cal. You don't understand the type shit that I have to go through if we don't win.
Wait for what I cried, 'cause I heard it screaming out your name.
Runt?
Your name.
It's complicated. Sometimes 2 wrongs is the only way to make shit right.
'Cause there's a side to you that I never knew all the things you say they were never true, all the games you play, you would always win, but I set fire.
I was taking care of him.
Last time, let it burn. Let it
Wherever we go, we're gonna know the world. I meant me and Runt.
Created and produced by Arte Enchanted. A huge thanks to Christian's family. A special thanks to Sue and Nancy for their kindness, dedication, and love.